Well, good morning, everyone. I am hoping that you are having a fantastic day. Welcome to Rethinking Freedom, where this is a movement, not just a show. Our goal is to set ourselves free in every sense of the word. And today, this topic, I am going to be taking notes. So if you see me looking down, it's because I'm taking notes because we have a legend in our midst, and she is a legend who is going to unleash so much information. And I'm going to make sure if you're listening on the radio, you want to go to our YouTube channel or on the podcast. So this is Rethinking Freedom. I am your host, Aya Fubara Eneli. And today it is my pleasure to introduce a woman who is legendary in the health field. She'll tell you a little bit more about her background and who she's worked with and the kind of work that she's doing. But we know one thing for sure. It doesn't matter how wealthy you are. If you are unhealthy, your life is not what you want it to be. There are people today, as you are watching, as you are listening, who are spending their life savings just trying to get healthier because they're not ready to die. And so, whatever else you may be doing with your time right now, you want to stop and you want to listen because this could save your life. It could improve your life. It could save and improve the lives of your loved ones. This is information we need to have. So, who is this guest? None other than Dr. Nopoko. She is a board certified doctor of naturopathy. Naturopathy. I'd never actually even heard of that area. And my husband is a physician. She's also a certified nutritionist. She's an immunologist, a pranic healer, and a hospice care specialist. One of the things I found out being married to a doctor is that so many of our physicians are not trained in nutrition. Absolutely. And yet the number one drug you're going to take is the food you ingest daily.
Absolutely.
And there is a reason for that, because typically these medical schools, these medical colleges are funded by pharmaceutical companies. Absolutely. And so they focus their training on pharmaceuticals. I tell you, my father is 86, Dr. Napoko, and one time he was having some problems with his knee, and he went to the doctor and they prescribed a medication for him. Absolutely. Before we filled the medication, we came home and there happened to be an ad on TV. And you also have to ask yourself why there's so many drug and pharmaceutical ads on our TV sets, right?
Right, that's right.
And as he listened to the side effects, remember they tell you this is what the drug can do for you. And then they very, very, very quickly list off all of these other side effects.
Exactly.
And one of the side effects was death. And my father said, do not fill that prescription. How do I go to my knees hurting me a little bit to taking medication that can almost kill me or will kill me, as they're saying? And so some of you might have been in a situation where you're prescribed one drug and then there's side effects from that drug. And then now they give you 3 other drugs to address the side effects from the first one. So when she said, I'm a certified nutritionist, I sold me. Okay. But let's go further. She has developed over 20 unique treatment solutions and strategies to help improve whole body wellness and to speed up healing of chronic conditions. Dr. Nopoko has over 30 years of experience in natural healing and has worked as a protege to none other than Dr. Sebi.
Yes.
Which is, I can't wait for you to tell a little bit about that story. I think there's going to be a part 1 and 2 to this interview. And she's also worked with other internationally renowned medical professionals.
Right.
And so she's also certified in lymphatic drainage. She's also certified in polarity therapy. And if you're saying, I don't know what any of these things are, that's the more reason why you need to know who she is. Indigenous herbs, natural healing and nutrition, as well as her board certification is from the National College of Naturopathic Medicine. Dr. Napoko, welcome to Rethinking Freedom.
Thank you so much for having me. And you just don't know how excited I am to be here, because it's a message that needs to get out. And it's important that we know that we are in a state of emergency right now. And the whole world needs to look at where we are. And we need to look at ourselves individually. how to do better in this new year that we're living in. I want to start off by saying that cleansing our body is extremely important, and that we know that there's so many chemicals in our food. And late last night, we were listening to the Cargill industry, who has 80% of the food industry they control, and they control it with putting chemicals in it. And I heard them say that if you eat meat and the meat is killed, and if you lay it, if an animal dies, it decomposes immediately. However, if they put chemicals in it, they can keep it looking like it's fresh. So we are not looking at what we're eating. So my whole ideology at this time, by me coming through the baby boomers, during that time we ate meat when I was 12, 13 years old. Well, I don't think it would be a problem, but today and this time, I don't feel nobody should eat animal.
Wow. Can you go a little bit more into why
I
that is?
surely will. I surely will. And the reason for that is the animal has been injected with so many hormones, injected with chemicals to keep it looking fresh, as well as making sure that you yourself make it taste good. They make it taste good for you. Now, tasting good is one thing, because in the early days we used to eat like the foods that my mom used to prepare for us, and it was all natural. Well, it's not many foods out here that is natural. Right now, we are struggling with the pesticides, the herbicides, and all the different things they're putting on our foods. Last month, I was in Atlanta, and I did a radio show in Atlanta, and the title was "Grow Your Own Food." And so many people responded. And the reason why they responded is because they didn't know how critical it was for you to grow your food in this day and time. It used to be the problem with the meat. Now the problem is with our vegetables, because more and more people now are turning into being vegans or basically vegetarians. So my story starts where I get very ill, and when I got ill and they admitted me into the hospital, I had a baby. They left me in the hallway, drugged me with Demerol. The baby decomposed in my body. And that was during the time that
I'm
I
so
had no
sorry
idea
to
what
hear
was going
that.
on. That's right. I had no idea what was going on. They got the afterbirth out at the whole 24 hours of it sitting in my body, which caused me to go into septic. And that is such a bacteria that was so difficult to get rid of. So at that time, I was told to go meet this guy that was in town. His name was Dr. Sebi. I went to meet him, and they put me on a program. I stayed on the program for 14 days. In those 14 days, I broke out all over my body, from my head to the toe, to my toe. I lost so much weight. I was down to 114 pounds with this rash all over my body. When I talked to Sebi about it, what he told me, he said, what was in you had to come out. And that's why you're breaking out. He said, don't worry about the way you look right now. You're going through a process of healing. After staying on those herbs for a matter of months, everything cleared up. Everything was healed. He told me, he said, I need you to come to Honduras. I said, I'm going to come. He said, but you Americans don't never come. He said,
Oh, wow.
will you make it? Do you think you can make it? I said, yes, I will. I left the United States of America August the 19th. I believe it was 1989. And I stayed with Dr. Sebi at the Usha Caliente Village.
Wow.
When I got there, in fact, it was such an interesting journey, because on the plane, as you go so far across the water, they don't speak English anymore. So therefore, they took me to another city, because there was so many, there was so much fog in the up over the mountains, and they wouldn't land in La Ceiba. That's where Dr. Sebi was. So I went to the next town, which was San Pedro Sula. And when I went to San Pedro Sula, I stayed there until I was able to get back to his house. his place. But I walked around asking people if they knew Senor Sebi. And family, they pointed me to his mother's house. So I went to his mother's house and I met all his relatives and I stayed with his relatives for almost 2 weeks.
Wow.
Family, Sebi sent a car for me to come to Honduras. His villa. When I got there, he was so excited. The first thing he did, he said, I want you to take a bath. I said, well, I just got here. He said, don't worry about anything. Just go, just walk with me to the bathhouse. We walked down to the bathhouse. He said, I got water waiting for you. And so he says, get in the water. Only stay in here 15 minutes because it's thermal waters that is pumped down off the mountains with 106 minerals in it. He said, I want you to experience this. I got in the water and I stayed in the water. He stayed on the side of the bathhouse until I got out. And when I got out, he said, now how do you feel, girl? How do you feel now? And I said, I don't know how I feel. I'm trying to manage this feeling because it's so interesting. Because it was so many minerals in the water, it brought oxygen to my entire body, from my head to my toe. And so after that experience, him and I became good friends. I kept coming back and forth to Honduras, and I started working for him. I worked for him on 87th and Cottage Grove in the city of Chicago for over 12 years. And in those 12 years, him and I developed a wonderful friendship. I was able to learn about the herbs and learn how they heal and learn about indigenous herbs that here in the United States of America, we are not familiar with these herbs. They are not the same herbs that he uses in his formulas. And that was the reason for his success in reversing pathologies. So being exposed to all that, it woke up something to me. And I knew at that moment, my degree was from DePaul University in marketing, right?
Wow.
I had no connection with healing, right? I, at that point, got so involved with his journey and my interests. I went to medical school for
Wow.
7 years and got a degree in the property, which is a spine specialist. And
Wait a
what
second. How old were you when you decided to go to medical
I,
school?
I was about 40.
Wow.
Yeah, I think I was about 40. Yeah, I
Wow.
was in my 40s. But the number don't matter to me then, and it don't matter to me now.
Wow.
And the reason why is because we can stay ageless if we know what to do. We have
Okay, you need to break that down for me.
I'm
I
getting
just had my
ready
I just had my 54th birthday. I
to
birthed
tell you.
all these children. Sometimes my knees hurt. We know
Okay.
that in America, I would say obesity is probably at the top in terms of issues, heart failure, high blood pressure, diabetes. We see the obesity in our young people. What can you share with us for those who are saying it is the beginning of 2025? I know I need to make a change.
Yes. Let me say this. And this year, make it your own. Take
Mm,
it for your personal possession. What I'm getting ready to give you.
mm.
You call it earth, wind, fire, water, and balance your emotions. That is my standard.
Earth, wind, fire, water, and balance your emotions. I told you all I'm taking notes. Okay, please go ahead.
So the E for earth means eat from the earth. The wind is get your rest. The fire is you must exercise. You don't have a choice. It's to give yourself at least 3 days of movement. Because if you don't move, you're going to lose it.
Mm.
And most of these elders out here they move like they old people because they don't take the time to move. You see? So we got earth, wind, fire, and we must drink water. And we want to make sure that we get clean water. The
Mm.
other part is balance your emotions. And I have this question that I bring out all the time because my mother was a healer. And my mother we lived in Argyle Gardens. And my mother would have people would come to my mom's house, and I was a little girl, and they would come with headaches and ear infections and whatever it was. She would go to the kitchen and give it to them, and they were well. And I watched this for years, right? I grew up with this. I had no idea that I would be in the medical field because that was not my interest until I got with Sebi.
Mm-hmm.
However, the miracle was that when she passed away, she had no idea that I went to medical school after she passed. But there was a
Well,
book.
she knows now.
But
She knows.
hold it, let me tell you, Aya. It was one of her favorite medical books. She inscribed and said, "This book must go to my daughter, and she will heal herself and all who will believe." And that was before she passed away,
And so she wrote that even before you went to medical school.
even before I had an interest.
Wow. Ancestors make no mistakes. Yeah.
No, they know, they have insight. Even
Yeah.
though if I told her that I had no interest, she wouldn't say anything because she knew down the road I would.
Mm,
It's that
mm,
intuitive instinct she had.
mm,
However,
mm.
this earth, wind, fire, and water, and earth, eating from the earth, I'm asking the audience today, if you have a little space in your backyard, grow something. If you
Yes.
got a little space where you can grow you some tomatoes or some onions, some spinach, some broccoli, some kale, whatever that is, grow it because we cannot trust what they're doing in the market now because it's
Wow.
been sprayed with so many chemicals, and those chemicals do hurt us. As we continue to do this process, at some point we are going to feel it. I get calls every day with people with cancer. And it is a sad situation to report this, that women under 40 are suffering with cancer more than Black women, I have to say. For 50 and or under are facing cancer right now. In fact, I got a call this morning, a sister who had a tumor on her pituitary gland.
Mm,
They don't know what to do, but if they do surgery, they have to be very careful. As you know, your husband is a doctor. They have to really, really look at that carefully because of where it sits, and they can damage other vessels as well.
mm-hmm.
But I want to tell you, being with Dr. Sebi, I have so many stories to tell because he was an anchor for me. And even though I didn't know what this future would hold, and I sold his herbs, and I knew that it was something that was connected to me because he had the lino, he had the fucus, he had the CC4, and then as you wanted to talk about the female reproductive and the hormones and the postmenopausal and premenopausal, he had a formula for that. And now all he asked the women to do was keep yourself clean and balance out your hormones. And when the hormones get imbalanced, you go through those mood swings. You feel uncomfortable. You have vagina dryness, anxiety, all of that comes
So,
because
so if you guys didn't catch that, she's talking about there are certain women who did catch that. Dr.
uh-huh,
Napoko, it was the shock of my life. It was
yes,
a few days before I turned 50. I went hiking. I love the outdoors.
yes,
Um, and I got so disoriented that I almost couldn't get off the mountain that I had hiked up and find my way home. And I'd gone hiking alone. So I was really concerned about, oh, I'm about to be one of those stories where they found her half eaten body. All of these things playing in my head. And I came back home, and I'm telling you, for about 6 months, the extreme fatigue. I'm usually a very energetic person, and I couldn't figure out what was going on. I hadn't changed. In fact, I had actually just cut out meat again. I've gone through phases where I was a vegetarian, and then I started eating meat again. And I was at a phase where I had cut out meat again, and I'm like, what's going on with me? And then one day I was doing an interview, and this was during COVID, so it was via Zoom. And I could see myself all of a sudden look like someone had just sprayed a whole bunch of water on my face.
really,
And I had no idea. And so when we finished, I kept my composure, finished the interview, and the young lady who was interviewing me said, "Oh, it must be really hot where you are." And I'm thinking the temperature didn't change. What happened? That was my introduction to menopause.
Well,
And I remember,
can I just
go ahead.
interrupt you right there?
Yes. Hmm.
The reason why you started sweating, you either had something salty or you had something with sugar. And in less than 30 seconds, you're going to fall out and break out in all of those sweats immediately.
Really?
Because the pituitary gland is the boss of the reproductive area and the endocrine system. It
Okay.
sends the signal to the reproductive area for the female. As we're talking about her, that if that pituitary gland is not nourished and and if it needs to be cleansed in the area or whatever needs to be done to the area, we need to nourish. That's why Sebi had this product called H1.
Now, is that product still available? Because I'm sure there are people who want to get it from you.
Yes, it is available.
Because what happened was I now posted on Facebook and I said, "You all, you're wrong for this. Why did you not tell me what menopause is and how it affects your body?" And at that point, and thank goodness, even till now, the only thing that I have is sometimes these hot sweats. But women started posting their horror stories. And I'm telling you, absolute horror stories about menopause. So for those women listening and for the men in their lives who love them, who are like, "I'm so tired of dealing with all of this," what would you say they need to be considering?
I will tell you, if you're eating animal, stop, because there's hormones in the animal. They're injecting it with it. So how do you heal this? And they're doing something to counteract against you.
Mm,
You
mm.
see, so it's important that you have a clean diet of fruits and vegetables, and that you keep that area cleansed and nourished. You see, and that Sadie used to have this vagina wash that you would insert and you would wash the vagina out along with taking it. And you had to make sure that your diet was on task, meaning you want to make sure you had a lot of sea moss. You want the bladder act with the sea moss. That was the first thing we had in the morning at the Usa Caliente village. In fact, people are selling things wrong when it comes to that sea moss because they give you this gel and you take a little scoop and put it in your smoothie and you think you're doing something. You're not. Because when I stayed at the Usa Caliente village, every patient got a half a gallon of sea moss to drink every day, alone with the bitters, the Maya, the CC4. That was all included in what you were doing in order to get well. The sea moss was loaded with the minerals because it provided oxygen. Most of the people who have problems with their back, their neck, their shoulders, their gut, all of these areas is because when the baby is crying, what does the baby want? When the baby is crying, what do the baby want, Aya?
Well, it depends. Sometimes food, sometimes they need to be changed, sometimes they want to be soothed.
Okay, you just hit it right away. The baby wants food. The baby is the bloodstream. The bloodstream is full of nutrition, and the nutrition needs to get to that area. And for some reason, it may be blocked, or there may be a block in that vessel, or
Mm-hmm.
coagulation in that vessel that's
Mm-hmm.
not allowing the blood to get to that particular organ or that area where you have pain. That's why you're in pain. As a naturopathic doctor, one of the things for me that's important that when I see a patient, I'm looking at them from head to toe. I'm looking at the color, discoloration of the skin. I'm doing an assessment immediately. Why are they even touching you? I'm looking at your eyes. I'm looking at how you move. I'm looking at the movement of your limbs. I'm looking at the rashes on your body. I'm looking at under your eyes, in your eyes, your tongue. You see, your tongue tells me a lot. You see, if you got a heart condition, it's the lungs in trouble. And if you're anemic or not, I haven't touched you. Today,
Okay,
we
so
start.
I'm already flabbergasted because I'm thinking I don't go to the doctor often because I feel like they don't practice preventative medicine. It's usually
Yeah,
supposedly to heal you, and so I try to do a lot of the preventative things myself.
yes.
Listeners, I'm not saying you shouldn't go to a doctor, so
No,
don't hear that.
no,
But
I'm
I've
saying
never been to one where, first of all, just the way with capitalism, our modern medicine is you've got 15 minutes if you're lucky with the doctor. And it's like,
this
what did you come in for today? And so when you're talking about this full examination, your tongue, looking at the skin, I mean, most of us don't get that. If you went in because your finger's hurting, they'll look at that part and then prescribe
that's
something and that'll be it.
that's
Yes.
it. But
Yeah.
but where I'm in whole body wellness.
Yes, ma'am.
The lungs ain't separate from the heart. The liver ain't separate from the kidneys. The spleen is not separate from the pancreas. It's one unit. When one part of the body gets ill, the entire body is suffering. And I'll tell you a story like this. This lady came to my office and she said, Dot, I'm not feeling well. And I said, what's going on? She said, I just had one of my kidneys removed. And she said, I just don't feel well. I said, are you in the recovery stage? She said, yes, I am, but there's still something that's not quite right. And I looked at her and I said to her, I said, you know that other kidney been there all your life, right? And how old are you? She said, I'm 64. And how long was that kidney with you? All those years. When did you have it taken out? When I was 62. So that kidney been with you for 62 years and now it's gone. And the entire system is grieving over that kidney. Because they said, oh, it was here yesterday and now it's gone. Oh, what did we do? How do we
Wow.
operate without it? That was our buddy. That was our friend. That was our relative, whatever. But it's gone now. How do we operate? Because now we took the load, what that kidney was doing, and we put it on the other kidney. And we're
Mm.
not paying attention to what the needs of that kidney, just taking the load, what it needs in order to operate. So everybody kicks in. This is a family reunion in the body. Everybody's connected. Everybody's like,
Reset.
oh, this is gone. What do we do? Let's all come together and help this kidney supply the needs that it needs. You see?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So when I look at this holistic way of living, and that's why I work in a holistic manner, because we are not aware that we ran this body down. We are doing things we should not be doing. We are just disrespecting this human form that the Creator gave us. We think we can do any and everything and we'll still be all right. No. At one point, Sebi told me all the time, at one point, you keep on doing this and it's going to cut you off. It's going to stop. And that's where he started talking about autoimmune diseases. Because now the autoimmune has turned against you and now it's going to eat up your stuff. You understand? And
Yeah.
that these cells get so full of toxins that is leaking out. They can't pick up nothing else because of your left way of living. You drink pop, you drink liquor, you eat a lot of starch, you overload with sugar, you don't exercise, you're not drinking no water, and emotionally you're a wreck. What is the only function of the body? The only function of this human body is to carry the mind. Let me elaborate.
Please do.
When the body is sick, so is the mind.
Hmm.
That's why we are not supposed to go to a hospital or a doctor by ourselves when we're sick because we can't get it right. And you don't get it right, they don't get it right. There's
Say, say,
nobody
say,
there.
say more about that.
Excuse me?
No, say some more about that. That we're not supposed to go to the doctor by ourselves.
Never, ever.
Really?
When I was in South America with Sebi, And they came to the Usa Caliente village. The whole van was filled with people. The mother, the father, the uncles, the aunts, the cousins, everybody came to the doctor. We in America, we just go by ourselves. We by ourselves.
I definitely go by. So what would you say is the importance of having people go with you?
Because sometimes you don't speak up for yourself properly.
You
Because you
know
don't
what?
know the right things to
You
say.
are right about that. Because when I go with my parents, and my parents are still in their right mind, very capable, when I go with them, it's a different outcome. When I drop them and go to work and come back and pick them up, I'll say, "Well, did you tell the doctor about so and so?" Oh, I forgot. Yes,
That's
yes.
why you need a person that's there to help. I can tell you, being in Honduras with Sebi was the best thing that ever happened to me. And Sebi was my friend. I could tell you so many stories with him. I was with him one Christmas. I spent Christmas with him. And he was just so excited. He just took me to the market and he said, "Hey, we're just going to look at everything natural. I'm going to take you in the store so you know what to buy. You know what to pick. You know what not to get." And so he did. So I didn't know how to cook. Sebi taught me how to cook natural foods. He showed me how to bring this into manifestation. And I was just so elated with it. And I could tell you that he was very, very, very much into the process of healing. That was his life. And when we came to the Usa Caliente village, he would come down to meet and greet everybody when he was there because he wanted to know if you're healing. Is everything okay? Are you taking the herbs? Are you eating the food? And when you get there, you're not going to be bombarded with no animal food. We going to eat food on the land. We was pick sour sap off the tree. We would go and eat avocados off the tree. We would go on the orange orchard that was on the other side that belonged to Lisa Left Eye. He bought the land. But
I know. I was just going to ask you if you were there during the time that Lisa Left Eye Lopez from TLC, if you were
yes,
there during the time she went to visit.
I wasn't there, but I was aware of her because I
Mm-hmm.
did spend a lot of time and I stayed in a room and I went to, I did have interactions with him during the time he was there. They
Yeah.
stayed in contact with me
Mm-hmm.
because it was very important for me to know that if I was going to bring this healing back to the city of Chicago, that I stayed in contact with Dr. Sebi for his knowledge and what he would say about different pathologies. And of course, me going back to medical school, going to medical school and getting this degree brought a lot of clarity for the biochemistry of the body, what we need and what we don't need. And I just want to speak about some of the people that I've seen.
Okay.
Uh, One of the important things for me is to set the spine from C1 all the way to the coccygeal. Uh, C1 is very important, and not many practitioners can get to C1 because they're not sure how to get there, and they don't know how to manipulate and balance C1. But when my patients are on the table, I'll tell them, "I'm getting ready to rewire your gut, and I want you to pay attention to your gut. I'm getting ready to send a signal right there. Take a deep breath, and I rewire it with C1 and send that signal straight to their gut. And if they had any problems with gut issues, that signal right there is the process starting to heal the gut itself. You see? And then we go C2. I'm making sure that I recognize in C2 the eyesight. I make sure that a lot of times people wearing glasses don't need to wear glasses. They're wearing glasses because they're not connected with the spinal nerve that go to the optical area. You see, and that goes all the way down to the gut, to the pancreas. All of the organs are connected to the spine, and once all those organs are connected with that spine, those people feel so good that they'll tell you. I had reverse prostate cancer, breast cancer, people who had people who needed knee replacements. They didn't need them no more. Hip replacements, no hip replacements.
Okay, so you guys don't go and call her and get in before I can get in because I'm going to Chicago. Please go ahead.
Actually, I was in Atlanta in November. I stayed there almost a month, and I see patients every time I go to Atlanta. However, in Atlanta, there was a person in Atlanta that referred one of my patients that live in Chicago. And she said, I learned about you in Atlanta, and I live in Chicago. This is amazing. However, I am in a space to do Yahweh's will, and that's where I am. And it doesn't matter what the condition is, because when I look at a tumor, when I see that, when I know that a patient has a tumor, you know that tumor is a live organ. It wants to live. It'll make you crave stuff that you're not supposed to eat just so it can live. His whole ideology is to take over your brain. That is his mission. It's a live entity that wants to take you over. And when we look at that, and this being human body, we got to say to ourselves, how do we shut this down? And I'm going to tell you my experience. Dr. Sebi had this office in 87 on 87 in Stony Island. And there was a sister there by the name of Tara, and she had a brain tumor. And she was under Sebi's herbs all those years. It wasn't a lot of years, but I do remember her being under the herbs. And I was there when the tumor started to release, and the tumor came out of her nose. The herbs broke it down so it was moved, because it was a foreign object in the body that was not supposed to be there. And when the herbs started migrating that area and filtrating that area, and the herbs was absorbed in that tumor, it had to go. These are things that we're dealing with. My last two patients had prostate cancer. We basically got rid of it. We're still under care. Still under my care, but it's not what it was. I'm trying to save as many people from going in that surgery room as possible.
Yes, ma'am.
Because we don't know the statistics. I embrace the AMA, but I will tell you, it ain't for everybody. Some people go in and don't come out.
This is true.
And so we need to know there's millions and millions of surgeries that they made a mistake because they're only human. All my message is to you in the audience, take care of yourself. You see something going on, don't wait until it just get out of control and then you say, I'm going to do something. Do something immediately. If you're feeling something unusual, that's your body's message is talking to you. And when the pain starts to get worse, the body is screaming at you at this point. Take care of me. This is the message. The baby.
So instead of just numbing it, so
yes,
I give an example when I'm watching these commercials and they'll say, take the Pepto-Bismol or whatever, and I'm like, if your body is saying I don't want this food, why are you just taking something to suppress what the message your body is giving you, as opposed to my body doesn't like this kind of food, I need to stop eating it. So you're saying when we're feeling pain in any part of our body, it's our body sending a message to us, something is wrong, do something about it.
Absolutely. The fact that the pain showed up says that, we're going to another stage now.
Yeah, well, but Dr. Napoko, some people are listening and they're going, well, that's part of aging. You get
I
older.
Get that. And I'm going to do it till I die. It's not part of aging. And I'm going to tell you why. Because when I was in Honduras, I stayed at Sambo Creek. And I was around Garifunas. And these women were in their 90s. And they were walking with fruit on top of their head along the ocean. They weren't with no canes and wheelchairs. and walkers. They didn't have that. They didn't know about the medicines that we have today. They ate from the tree. They ate from the ground. They went in the ocean. Even when I was there and I got ill, the bushwomen came and got me. And the first thing they did was throw me in the ocean. And I just like didn't understand why you throwing me in the ocean. I got a fever. I'm sick. When I got out the one, they told me you can't come out the ocean. I stayed in the ocean for 25 minutes. And when they came to get me, I wasn't ready to come out the ocean because I was feeling so doggone good. Because the ocean itself is full of minerals. They know how to heal from a natural standpoint. And that's why I went there. I stayed up in the mountains with these bushwomen to understand.
So this idea of, well, you are getting older, it's natural to lose
No,
your eyesight and to all the aches and
no,
pains, and now I've
no,
got arthritis and all
no,
of that. That
no,
is not just a natural process.
no, no. It's the bloodstream full of garbage that is being linked to the organs that are weak. And
So
those organs,
how do we do this cleanse? Someone is saying it is the beginning of the year. It's February. Actually, it's Black History Month. What do I need to do, Dr. Nopoko, to cleanse myself? Because I'm tired of feeling bad. I'm carrying all this extra weight. I'm feeling sluggish. I got headaches. I'm not sleeping well at night. People are taking all kinds of stuff, melatonin and this and so on and so forth. I'm not sleeping at what is it that people need to do?
call me.
Is there a
Because
number?
what I
Is there
do,
a number that they can
it
call?
is 773-236-6268.
You got it.
773-236-6268.
Yes.
Because when I make a cleanse, it's customized. It's not one size shoe fit all. I customize that cleanse according to what I'm looking at and what that pathology may be. And making sure not only I'm cleansing that particular area, but I'm cleansing the lungs, the heart, the liver, the spleen, the pancreas, the small and large intestines. And this cleanse is a 30-day cleanse. And I have testimonies because the herbs that are in here are not from the United States. I have herbs that come from India, Honduras, all different other countries. However, the herbs here in America, I cannot say that they're good or bad. I just know what I know about the ones I use.
Mhm.
But I will tell you that after the 30-day cleanse, you are totally a brand new person. It's a protocol. It's a standard code of care. It's a program that I put together for each person, individually customized for them, from the time they get up in the morning to the time they go to bed at night. They follow this protocol for 30 days.
Wow.
And now they know that they are definitely a new person.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for that.
Mm-hmm.
So you had gone down the C1, the C2. Did you want to go down the rest of them?
I won't spend all the time going down every one of those,
Yes,
but
ma'am.
what I will do is tell you that when you do come to see me, I am examining your spine. I
Yes.
can tell you, we call it anterior rotation, posterior rotation. We call it an anin and a poen, and
Okay.
we're looking at the spinous process. And the spinous process, if I can show you here,
You guys, I'm getting diagnosed live. Yes. Go ahead.
here's the spinous process. This is the spinous process. This step out here and these two here on the side is called a transverse process. Inside of each one of them stacked on top of each other is the spinal nerves. The spinal nerves are designated to go to the area that vertebrae is connected to. From C1 all the way to C7 is the vertebrae. From C1 all the way to C8 is the nervous system. And when the nerves are impeded upon or a bone has been shift it by sleeping. That's why I do an adjustment on your face.
Mm-hmm.
I do adjustment on your xiphoid arch right here. I
Mm-hmm.
do an adjustment here on the forehead and all around the base of the whole body and all up under the face to make sure that the whole face is in alignment, because when you go to sleep, sleep on the side and all the weight go there. I also adjust the skull itself, and I make sure that every one of these vertebrae are in alignment. Now, I also look at, I want to show you this.
Now, remember, you're still going to tell me what you were about to tell me, though.
Okay, okay, I'm gonna get to that. Let me get to
Okay.
that. So I wanted you to see this. You see
That
this?
that is a little hard for us to see, but yes, go ahead.
Can you
Yes.
see it better?
Yes.
You see the distortion of the human body?
Uh-huh.
People are walking around like this every day.
Yes, ma'am.
Blood flow can't get where it's supposed to go, and nerve innervation is not taking place. So therefore, we got these extended colons. You see, you can see it this way. Look how the colon is extended for the stomach being so big, full of garbage. Can you see it?
Yes.
You see how it's extended and how the body is going lopsided?
Mm-hmm.
So when we bring the body back into balance, the blood can go from head to toe without any interruptions. And that's what makes the patient really feel good. There's a tech that I use, and all of them is coming from subclavian artery right here. And I'll tap on it at least 3 times. And I'll tell the patient, don't move for 40 seconds. When I tap on this, don't move. I'll tell you when it's time for you to move. I just want you with your mind, because you're going to feel this blood going to places that it has not been in ages. And when I tap on the subclavian artery right here, this is clavicle, which is the
Yes.
bone is going to come down and right there is going to get to that nerve and that artery is back. And when you tap on it, it says blood up, down, in, out. 40 seconds, you in your mind, you're going to follow the blood moving through your body, because you're going to feel it. When I say, okay, it's time for you to move, people are like, it's an experience. And it feels so good, because
Wow.
now the baby is not crying anymore.
The
Because the
baby
baby
is
got
not crying anymore.
the baby got the nutrition that it wanted. It wanted food, and the food comes from the bloodstream. See? And it's important that we adjust the body from head to toe, making sure the cervicals are making sure the vertebral artery is giving oxygen to the brain itself, and that all that oxygen gets to the brain so you can think better.
Mm.
You see? And
Mm.
we all in thinking about these things, and I'm gonna go back to that. Let me just say this one thing: we all want to have a beautiful brain. We don't want dementia.
No,
We
we
don't
don't.
want Alzheimer's. But there's a key to that, because I got people coming to me for Alzheimer's and dementia. But you know what? As and other diseases, Parkinson's disease as well. It's a nervous condition, because our specialty is the nervous system. We want to make sure that that nerve is getting to where it's supposed to go. If it don't get there, that means it's not going to be able to heal that patient.
Mm.
The movement will not take place.
Mm.
So, getting back to this ageless thing,
Yes.
okay, I want you to think for a moment. If we continue earth, wind, fire, water, and balancing our emotions, and you come to me as this practitioner that knows how to manipulate the spine and making sure the blood flow where it's supposed to go, and going in the inguinal canal and making sure we go up under the arm, because this is very important when I'm telling you. I go up under all the patient's arms. That's where the lymph nodes are. And
Yes.
I save a lot of women from breast cancer, because this is where it starts. And because I'm under the arms, the lymph nodes have picked up so much garbage. They're full. And they don't get to empty out because they don't move, they don't exercise. So I'll go under their arm and bust them.
You know what? It's interesting that you would say that because I have a dog, and some you can either at the vet or even when they're groomed, you can elect for them to empty out their glands.
That's right.
Wow. Okay.
Does it make sense to you?
Yes. Yes. That makes
So
perfect
the
sense.
other thing that's important for me, that when the patients come to that want to make sure they don't have any nodules in their breast, I do use what we call the iTerracare machine, and it really helps with cancer. And so I use it with all around the breast. I go like that clock, 12 o'clock, all the way back, all the way around, and making sure I examine the breast. And if I find something, I get rid of it right there without them going down the rabbit hole. You understand? And going to, okay, let us do a biopsy. I'm not in agreement of biopsies because you're disturbing the tissues. That's why when they told Tara she had that tumor, they wanted to go in and take a piece of it. Sebi told them, no, you're going to disturb it even worse. Let's do it naturally. Let's take the herbs that break the tumor down and let's get the herbs to pull the tumor out. Let's get the herb to nourish the area where the tumor was so it don't come back, and get down to the core of that tumor and heal that area. Because his whole thing was being thorough about healing. And that goes for any area of the body. And under that arm, in the inguinal canal, we're making sure that the lymph nodes are open up and bust and be able to release the garbage that's been picked up in the body. Because we eat so bad, Aya, we are not concerned. And even when you eat bad, you think you're eating good. You're not. And most people say, oh, I eat good. You know, me and my wife eat the best. No, you don't. The best is not until you grow it yourself, until you pull it out the ground. Because when you go in the store, you don't know what it is. And everybody done touched it. Everybody done came past it and put their hands on something, the apple, the greens, whatever. So now you done brought this home. And if you're gonna eat these vegetables, you got to wash them in apple cider vinegar and rinse them down. When you rinse them down, you'll see the residue come off of it.
Okay, so walk us through that again. So for those who are trying to eat healthy, who are buying they're not growing everything or they're not growing at all, but they're at least going and trying to get, let's say they're even getting organic food from the supermarket. You're saying come home and still soak it in apple cider vinegar?
Yes, ma'am. Because organic is not organic. We got a sign to say organic, but is it really organic?
We don't know.
We don't know.
We don't know.
That is what I mean. We don't know.
Yes.
So
what are some foods in particular that you would say? So you've talked about meat. What else would you say that people should definitely think about cutting out of their diets?
Well, I would say definitely processed foods. If it's processed, walk away from it. Because everything in the middle aisle of the grocery store is processed.
This is true.
Everything. I challenge you to look at this company called Cargill.
Yes.
Cargill Industries.
Cargill for those who are taking notes. Yes.
Exactly. And see all the foods that are under this industry that are all full of chemicals. And they know they are disturbing the human body. And they know they're hurting people. But they're not stopping you. It's all about money. So what I'm asking the audience today is for you to take control of yourself. I'm asking you to look at everything you put in your mouth. I'm asking you to look at the color of your skin. And if it's different colors, you know something is wrong here. You see? So I'm asking you, the women who don't have hair, why is your hair falling out? Why is your nails looking like that? What is happening? These are the signs that I look at. I'm looking at your eyes. I'm looking at every aspect of you as a human being when you get on my table. I'm looking at your ribs or how they laid in your body. Are they rotated? Is one rib going superior, one going inferior? Is one going posterior, one going more antero? I'm looking at how I can put your spine back together one by one and making sure all 33 vertebrae are connected to the spinal nerves. That's my job. In conjunction with that, if anybody has the flu or anybody have a fever, if they get a treatment and the blood gets to that area, the flu is gone.
Mm.
Many children and many babies, and I was an artistic teacher for 5 years for the Chicago Board of Education, and that was the way I was able to pay my way through med school. And I looked at these artistic children, and I said, "That's got to be an answer for them." And I talked to Sebi about it. He said, "There is an answer. We got to feed that brain. You do what we call abnormal structure creates abnormal function. If your structure is off, the function is off. So therefore, something is off in the structures of that brain of the autistic child. Something is not right. So what he used a formula for autistic children. And today he's not here. I miss him terribly. However, because it's cold in Chicago, I leave at this time of the year. I'm out there with him because that's when we go up in the mountains and we walk along the shores and we identify herbs and he tells me what they are and he says, well, we're going to do this today. And we even did a 30-day fast together. We were able to, he wanted me to understand the process of healing. He wanted me to understand what it felt like to have a clean system and how you can think better and walk better and be able to have the ecstasy of healing and be able to walk in that path to tell other people what it's really like. Most people out here are so sick, they have no idea what it feels like to be well because they've been sick so long. You see?
And we just medicated.
We just over medicated.
Yeah.
Now, that's another thing that I do on the table. I can sedate you on the table and calm down the nervous system without any medicine. Calm down the entire system. By the time you get off that table, you're so calm. The only thing you want to do is lay down and go to sleep. And on the time when you get off the table, that's the time you definitely go home and let everything connect and do what it's supposed to do because it has not been connected in I don't know how long. And that's what makes you feel like you go to sleep because blood is getting to area they wasn't getting to. The lymphatic is flowing just beautifully. The nervous system is connecting. Everything is going the way it's supposed to go. It's a true balance of health. And the whole body is balanced. You can walk better. You can see better. I go behind your head and I go back of the head and open up that a receptor that goes straight to your eyes so that you can see better. So there's many things that happen. And this time I can't even tell you all that I did because I see the patient. And when I see them, the spirit guides me as to what to do for them. It's like, again, there's no one size shoe that fits all. Everybody is individually treated according to their pathologies.
Individually treated according to their pathologies.
Yes.
Well, for all our viewers, if you're like me, your mind is blown because you have never sat with a doctor who talked to you this way. You've never had the kind of attention that she's sharing that her patients get. And I can tell you that I am not just intrigued, I am going to take action. And I'm thinking I'm going to be taking my parents with there as well. So hang on. We probably will have a part 2 to this. But I do want to thank all of you who are listening to us on the radio. Please check us out on everywhere that the podcasts are available on all platforms and also on YouTube on our channel, Rethinking Freedom. Please subscribe, please like, please share. Please post your questions. And in part two, we actually have some questions from some audience members that we'll be asking. So come to the YouTube side and catch part two. Thank you again.